rate is down. The education rate is up. We up. We went from a group of men who were brought to this country in the hulls of slave ships. I know we got the pretendians out there that's saying that we still here, but the DNA test says otherwise, just like your baby mama. So for my brothers who know their history and know where we came from and know what we've been through for hundreds of years, the fact that over 60% of black men have now reached the middle class as your seed is the most important thing that you produce in this world. It's not the art that you produce. It's not the buildings that you create. It's not the amount of money you make. It's not the amount of people who like you. It is your legacy.
But since we don't live in our culture no more, we say what we want to say, do what we want to say. We tear our men down and then wonder why they don't make good husbands and fathers. Mothers destroy sons. His mother can speak to him in certain ways that destroy him in ways that can never be repaired.
Salute the black men.
Started with mama issues, afraid to question anything, that was that bitch in you. Grown ass men, we letting this shit continue. Adolescent feminine ways, why men offend you. Mama boy, she love thugs, her secret lover. That's why she keep these niggas inside the covers. Put the nigga aside, homie, I'm your brother. Close father saving us, having the same mother. Iron sharpens iron, we learning from one another. No jealousy or envy, going through life struggles. You told your mama you was outside, wanted to hang. Now you wearing colors and just joined the gang. No money, so the OGs taught you how to slang. Jackers rolled up and all you heard was bang. On the side of the curb, leaking out your brains. Quiet when the same, single mama lost again. Black men, we gotta change. Salute the black men. We number one if you talking about top 10. I salute the black men. Child support kids don't belong to him. I salute the black men. She lied on you and sent you to the pen. I salute the black men. Dealing with the pressure and oppressor getting lesser, cause we deserve the best of. Coming home from work and life issues, I just want a meal, end up with fights with you. You just need to chill, remember I'm right with you. So fucking masculine swinging and I ain't hit you. What's your fucking issue? You don't love me, you love what I can get you. Don't let a kid you love be in the bitch you. 911 police saying I hit you. I got video footage, you lying bitch you. Why you think we locked up options with you? Making love to the enemy out to get you. That big ass and a smile might convince you. Graveyards that's filled, we on the menu. Penitentiaries packed, men continue to be the simps and she provided the venue. No respect, so black men we've been through. Nigga,
Black fathers are more likely to help their children with their homework, prepare meals, bathe and dress their children compared to fathers of other races. So the absent or deadbeat black father myth that many in America believe is really more like a lie.
The black men, we number one if you talking about top 10. I salute the black men. Child support kids don't belong to him. I salute the black men. She lied on you and sent you to the pen. I salute the black men. Dealing with the pressure and oppressor getting lesser, cause we deserve the best. Salute the black men. We number one if you talking about top 10. I salute the black men. Child support kids don't belong to him. I salute the black men. She lied on you and sent you to the pen. I salute the black men. Dealing with the pressure and oppressor getting lesser, cause we deserve the best of.
Salute the black men.
I salute.
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 Salute the black men.
Shout out to Unforgettable.
Salute the black men.
I salute.
Salute the black men.
I salute.
Salute the black men.
Men,
I salute.
the men I want to salute. Fuck your vibe.
I like that.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Simple Shit TV. I'm your host, Alvin Holden, also known as Project 8020, here with my brother, Broken Blade. What's up, Broken Blade?
What's up, man?
So check it out. We're going to just get right into it, because I imagine that, there's a handful of new folks in here, and they want to get right to it for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the new colors in the thumbnail or just the fact that there's white folks on the front. We're gonna get right. We're gonna get right. I don't know. I haven't decided which one it is just yet, but we're gonna get into it. So, Broken Blade, have you heard of this gentleman, Tim Dillon? Have you heard of him before?
I think so. Yes,
I mean, if you haven't, you haven't. Until relatively recently, I hadn't. So
I've heard the name here and there. I don't know much about him.
Cool guy, from what I can tell. I mean, he seems like a kind of a straight shooter, right? Sarcastic, probably would have fallen on the liberal side of the line at one point, but just like a whole bunch of comedians and a lot of people recently that actually care about things like censorship and so on and so forth have fallen over here on the side. He's been on the Joe Rogan podcast a handful of times, but his comedy is really funny. I've been peeping some of his stuff lately, so he's popping up. Anyways, so he gets into he pops up on CNN, which I thought was kind of weird. I was like, CNN?
Yeah.
That's weird. And then I see, if I'm not mistaken, I think that lady right there, I think that's the girl that they tried to get, they tried to put on Andrew Tate, no? Didn't they try to do like a gotcha, they got one kind of like a gotcha interview, and she was trying to do a gotcha interview with the Tate brothers. I think they try to put her out as being like the gotcha journalist, kind of unassuming, and you think that you can, and then she hits you with the gotcha moment, and she tears you up. I think that's her position. So when that popped up, I was like, oh, this would be really interesting, because this guy, Tim Dillon, has a couple of takes that could be looked at as controversial. And so I was like, I wonder what he's going to have to say. I don't know. This is curious. And, I wanted to switch it up a little bit. So right off the top, and this is okay. So we're going to start with interview etiquette and kind of interview design, media design. Let's take this first little part right here, because my first question, or my first issue with what's going on here, and you know what, I'm gonna let you, we're gonna watch it, and then we're gonna talk about it on the other side. So this is the very beginning of the interview. Okay, fair use.
People in the world, actually, we didn't know that, but we now I've realized that.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so the interview starts.
Okay, great. Do you want to talk about your special?
Sure.
Give me the short version.
It's a
That's how you start. That's how you start your interview.
Good. Okay, great. Do you want to talk about your special?
Sure.
Give me the short version.
It's a comedy special on Netflix.
How about introducing yourself and the guest first?
Thank you, Broken Blade.
This is from a man that's on the autism spectrum. I am a complete social retard, and I know that much.
Right? You at least got to get this part, right? Introduce yourself. How are you doing? What's been up? Just like a couple of questions to kind of ease on in. I don't know. That's what I would assume, but what do I know? I'm just a guy in a basement.
Netflix, and I think it's the most important thing ever, and it will change the course of human history. So you should, if you'd like to be a part of that. As we know, podcasters are like the most important people in the world. Actually, we didn't know that, but now I've realized it, that we are the arbiters of all things, and comedians matter. We thought we were just trying to get over stuff that our family did to us, but
we thought we were just getting over stuff that our family did to us.
it's big news. So it's super important, and you should watch it with your whole family, and the course of history will change. There's a lot going on.
I've been researching comedy, essentially, the way comedy is now.
Yes.
So I've been talking.
Okay. So again, like, were you just waiting for me to stop talking so that you could just get off whatever you wanted to get off? You know, I mean, I guess he was sarcastic. So real talk, real question. So you're on an interview, you're having an interview, right? And the question wasn't disrespectful. It was just incomplete. It was lazy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So your first question was lazy. And then
There's a lot important, and you should watch it with your whole family, and the course of history will change. There's a lot going on.
I've been researching comedy.
okay. So you didn't even acknowledge the joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you got to at least acknowledge the joke. Like, he's playing nice. You started off wrong. Shout out to Trick. You started it wrong. And then you're going to, okay, but I digress.
The way comedy is now.
Yes.
So I've been talking to lots of people. And one of the comedians that I interviewed said that
Now, I would like your thought on this at the end about someone saying someone else told me, but they can't tell you who that person is during the thing.
he thought more people were looking to people like you.
Yeah.
One of the comedians that I interviewed said that he thought more people were looking to people like you for their news and opinion, because the news got a little dumber and comedians got a little smarter. Tell me what you think about that. Like, why is this happening?
Well, I think that
news got a little dumber, comics got a little smarter. Do you feel like that's do you believe that's an accurate way to describe what's happened in the media, Broken Blade?
Not full on. Comedians are prone to less bias, at least being more honest about their opinion, whether I agree with them or not. And I also say on the flip side of that, I have a newfound respect for the likes of like Larry the Cable Guy and guys like Jeff Dunham in recent years. If they are truly like intelligent comedians, like George Carlin or Mark Maron, Louis C.K. that could talk about like social political things and be like really funny about it, Dave Chappelle and another. All right, cool. But there's too many comedians nowadays claiming comedy. It is just like a bullshit TED Talk.
Okay. So they're not even trying to make you laugh for real.
They might start off with some jokes, then they'll just go into a rant about whatever.
Oh, so like, got you. So it's like rant comedy. Is that is there a name for that? Kind of like pissed off gay man comedy, right? Like, you wouldn't believe this bitch, you know what I'm saying? That makes a lot of sense. I can see that.
Laugh at though.
Huh?
Then I'll probably laugh at though.
I mean, look, whether something is funny, that's the thing. You know, probably, and I've had to make this observation a couple of times about jokes. Like, when is a joke bad, or when have you gone too far? Right. I think that's a question that people always ask all the time. And I don't remember whether it was Joe Rogan, or I don't remember who actually said it, to be honest with you. And I don't even necessarily know if it was like a conclusion that I came to myself or partially, but so I won't claim it. But what I will say is, when a joke's intent is to hurt, that's when it's not funny. Like, when the intent is malicious, when a joke is intended not to make everybody laugh at this person's expense, but like legitimately try to make everyone laugh. That's when a joke is funny. Like jokes fall flat when someone is trying to maybe make an insult, and like the whole crowd is like not with that. They're like, I fuck with a lot of black people,
they
bro.
Came from Rogan.
Huh?
If they
It could have.
Rogan, that's really funny because
Yeah,
I think I do agree with that at least somewhat, but this example here, one of his boys, Ari Shaffir.
Oh yeah.
After big time with the whole Kobe Bryant thing.
Oh yeah, that was a third rail he wasn't expecting.
Yeah. The thing is, like,
whoops.
if he would just apologize afterwards or whatever, like okay, or whatever half-ass
broken blade.
Yeah.
The small hats do not apologize. In fact, they don't apologize. The people with the what rhymes with Swamika, the people that wear those things, yeah, they don't apologize. They don't apologize. So yeah, Ari wasn't going to apologize. Yeah, especially for insulting a black man. Like let's just call a spade, huh? And I don't mean like black, and I don't mean that in a racist way. I'm just saying like anyways. So I think that's an appropriate segue to this next clip, because Tim Dillon has recently run into he's had some controversial takes on some things. Let's let him discuss it.
Live and send their kids to school. And I don't think their main concerns are like, let's escape the planet, let's colonize Mars.
Right.
Among the big podcasts.
Yes. Amongst the establishment.
If you guys hadn't, Tim is gay, man. I don't care who he sleeps with, or I don't care if he's happy or not. That's cool. I legit don't care. Like, that's the thing. I think people think that like black folks, like it's particularly black men, are homophobic. We are not homophobic. We just don't care. Like, we just don't roll that way. At least the straight ones, those of us that are straight, we just don't care. Like, we literally do not care. Like, man, look, as long as you don't touch my ass and grab my balls and look too long, we're good. Stay over there and we're good. We got no problems, So, keep that out of the chat for the most part. Anyways, there is a theme here. And I think what CNN is trying to do is they're trying to tear down podcasts. And I think they're trying to diminish the value of podcasts. That's what I believe this interview is all about. Let's let Miss Ellie continue.
Tearing podcast elite.
That's right. Amongst let's call them the podcast elite.
The podcast elite.
Yes. Among those people, it seems like there is a cracking in the Trump coalition in terms of policy around Israel.
Yes.
Around as you spoke to a little bit, the student deportations.
Yeah.
And just in general, the continuation of the war. Can you tell me about that? Like, what do you think of that?
I think it's not.
Now, here's my thing before he answers this question. I apologize. And part of the reason why I wanted to do this again was also training for me and insight for anybody that may or may not be listening. If I'm conducting an interview, is it much of an interview if I just say, "Hey, water's wet. What do you think about that, Broken Blade?" Hey, Broken Blade. Look, traffic is bad. What are your thoughts? Right? Like, it's just, she's just giving this like very, like, what do you think about X? And it's like, I don't know, like, but it just seems like it's, once again, it's a lazy person's way of asking the question. And I could see if you were trying not to lead, specifically, but you know, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe it's her style. Maybe she's warming up. She did do something, and she asked a very specific question at the end, which we're going to cover. Which I think she waited to the very end to ask that question. But I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking. But you're going to see a theme here.
Only in that space. I think you see it all over. I think you see it on the left.
Mhm.
I think you see it on the right. I think you see it everywhere. I think people, you're confronted with these images that are visceral and they're horrible. And these are children being killed. These are infants being killed and dying in their parents' arms. And I think the country's a pro-Israel country. Israel's an ally. I believe it has a right to exist. I believe it's not inherently evil or bad place. But when you look at what's been going on, I don't think too many people with a conscience want to keep funding this. I mean, that's, and by the way, I've talked to friends, Jewish friends, people from Israel. I think a lot of people want this to end. I don't think it's specific to a certain group of podcasters. I think this is what's interesting. And there's nothing wrong with your question, but like what this is like, this is a great example of like, this is an issue that's everywhere. But I think when you ask a question, you go, so what's going on in this coalition of right-wing podcasters? Is it, and it's like, well, I don't think it's specifically there. I think this is like the biggest foreign policy issue out, you know, that the entire country's debating.
Well,
So, I mean, I don't know. That was a fair assessment, don't you think? I mean, he made it relatively difficult to spin. He definitely both sides that thing, you know, but he was just like, you know, one side, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Do you have any thoughts off the initial? Because I want you to hear her rebut. Here, I'm going to let you hear her rebut real fast.
I interview like
policy issue out, you know, that the entire country's debating.
Well, I interview like regular people, non-media people, non-extremists also.
Right.
Like, you know, just like regular Trump supporters.
I hope I'm in the extremist category. Don't put me in the non-extremist category. That's got to be the most boring people.
Those people don't think that much about foreign policy or Israel or the student deportations. Like sometimes if I was just in South Dakota, asking someone about the student deportations, he didn't know what I was talking about.
Right.
So I guess I'm curious whether you think or expect or hope that just as these politicians have seen something to gain in your audience, do you think they'll listen at all?
Will politicians?
We were just talking about Israel a second ago. And he kind of both sides that thing. And then she took it and then she redirected it. And now we're talking about politicians. That was pretty slick. If you weren't paying attention, you would have missed it. You would have just totally forgot that she didn't address the rest of the other question. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like a filler question and his answer was too good.
Yeah.
And she's like, maybe
and also, again, we need Joe with that drop. Who gives a fuck what John thinks?
Where is it? Damn it. Oh, I don't have it on the board yet. It's coming. Trust me. I was working on it. It's coming.
Why would the comedian care about whether or not a politician listens to his work?
You present a very interesting question there, Broken Blade. It's a great question because he is supposed to be talking about his comedy special. And
that's the point of this whole interview.
That's why he's doing the rounds. But he got that off early at the very beginning when she was like, so tell me about it. She was like, all right, what is this special thing about? She didn't even ask it like with her up. She like.
And this has to be like what Brad sits through with his passive aggressive girl. Because this has bad faith written all over just from jump.
I'm so glad you said that.
Picked up on that immediately.
Yeah, but he handled it so well. You know, he handled it. He handled it pretty well. It's just it's even still. It's like it's a lazy gotcha. Say what?
We'll put have the attractive blonde be the tip of the spear. Nobody see it coming. Yeah, all right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen this story before. Let's let him rock.
listen to their constituents?
Yeah.
What a great question with an unknowable answer. I mean, I think a lot of people elected Barack Obama not thinking that a lot of his cabinet was going to be directly drafted from Citigroup, right? I think
he's making too much sense.
a lot of people elected Donald Trump hoping that we were not going to continue foreign wars and spending American money for foreign wars. You know, I mean, this is the whole thing. Everybody campaigns on a laundry list of things they're going to do, and are they going to do them, and are they going to listen? I mean, it's a great question.
Does anyone ever back channel with you?
I think there's people that are frustrated.
Is that a weird question?
I didn't quite catch that.
Does anyone back channel with you? Because CNN is trying to spin this narrative that the right somehow, through a handful of podcasts, have somehow stranglehold all of media and all of the political landscape and boxed out CNN. Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Lex Friedman, and maybe one or two other guys allegedly have single-handedly destroyed media, mainstream media. That's what they truly think. Not that they lie, not like that they bully people that they're not supposed to, not that they, clearly have bias and bring bias to news articles, which is obnoxious as hell once you realize what's going on. No, that's not why you suck. Your presenters aren't extremely biased. That's not why you suck.
I love this guy to death, but
what's that?
I don't love this comedian to death, but if you consider Theo Vaughn an intellectual threat,
right, bro. Real talk, Broken Blade. CNN played Broken Points, which has been leaning very liberal lately. Breaking Points played a clip of Theo Vaughn reacting to imagery from the Middle East. And, dude got emotional. I get it. Nobody wants to see children, but it's crazy talk. I've been saying from the very beginning, I do not agree with this. I think it's a bad idea. I do not co-sign this bullshit. I do not like this happening in our name. Like the fact that I'm attached to it. If I could detach myself from my country for this particular thing, I absolutely would. But that's been like Theo Vaughn reacting over that has hit the algorithm. Him all upset over watching him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I guess, man, look, people want relatable. They want relatable hosts these days, it seems like.
Yeah.
Well, so they started off right out the bat, and they touched obviously the third rail. But they attacked comedy in a way that I hadn't recognized before. I didn't realize there was such a thing as right-wing comedy. Did you know that there is a right-wing comedy?
No.
I didn't know it was a thing either. I got surprised by it. Salute. What's up? What's up, Matt? How are you doing? What's up? Braxton was popping. Anybody else that might be watching this on a replay or catching this, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I don't always ask, but it's YouTube. You got to do the YouTube things. So real quick, I'm curious to know what you think about this, because I had never heard of the term red wing comedy before. I didn't really realize that was a thing. Let's go.
You'll find an audience that's pretty cool. That's, pretty sustainable if you keep doing good stuff. Doesn't mean it'll be the biggest audience.
You've talked a lot about the Iraq War as being kind of like a visceral moment in your life. The comedy at that time was like Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, left-wing critics of the Bush administration and of the Iraq War. Why do you think that style of comedy has fallen away?
Has it?
Yeah. I mean, according to the people who work for them, yeah.
I mean, I think Jon Stewart's still very popular and goes viral all the time, saying interesting things.
You think The Daily Show gets the same kind of audience?
I don't think The Daily Show does, but I think Jon Stewart, because you brought up Jon Stewart. So why? Well, that's a story of why traditional media has just declined. And I mean, it's just You know, it's just the rise of like, you know, people being able to watch things on their phones and stuff. And like all of the, I remember when YouTube.
Real quick, he did a very clever thing there. I don't know if clever is the proper word, clever or appropriate. He addressed the example that she used. So she can't wiggle out from under it. Like, I just used the example you used. I took your example. So whenever you're in an argument or a debate and someone uses a particular example, if you can, and you want to rebut their point, using their example to prove your point disarms them completely. Then they can't use the apples and oranges or whatever. It's not always possible, but if you can take the example that he used and he was like, okay, well, your theory is this, but I'm saying that even with your theory, maybe your data is wrong, and she couldn't wiggle out from under it. And someone could have let that pass, right? Like, we could have just sat here and been like, yeah, Jon Stewart's a washed and he's no good. Da, da, da. He's like, nah, he goes viral all the time. What are you talking about? You see what I'm saying? Like, it was an obvious, like, she was being deceptive at best, but most likely she was just lying. But let's continue. What's up, Cody Marshall? How are you doing, sir?
It was a slur when you would sit down at a meeting and they go on YouTube, right? Now it's the biggest media operation in the world, but at a time it was a slur. You know, you sit in an ivory tower, you think that the big three are always going to be the big three. You think, you know, you're not afraid of streaming, you're not afraid of YouTube. And you know, so the story is all this time. It's hubris, it's everything else. And like traditional media operations don't, you know, it's a big ship, it's hard to steer, and it's hard to admit when you need to change course. And I think the decline, I don't know if it's the decline of that kind of comedy. I think it's those kind of platforms. Mm-hmm. That comedy, there's very, very successful comedians that are left of center comedians.
Like who?
I mean, what do you mean, like who?
Jim Gaffigan.
He's about to absolutely name some, but it's just funny how someone just
Rogan
they just
ran them off.
Thank you. Right? It's like you still can't take ownership of your bad, I don't want to say behavior, but
Chelsea Handler, I think John Mulaney, probably. I think that you would find Sarah Silverman. I think Bill Burr, Louis C.K. He's never voted for a Republican in his life. Why? Because he's an imperfect person. These are massively successful comedians. They're all more successful than I am.
Man, shout out to him for that. You know what I mean? Shout out to him for that. We need to start checking people in the moment more often. Be like, nah, don't be kicking dirt on that man's name. That was some bullshit they put him through. You know? Like, that shouldn't have...
Women. He touched himself. He asked them to watch. Asked. They said no. He left it at that. Like, seriously.
I wouldn't do it, but you know, but that's his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get a thrill from that, then, you know, and he paid his debt to society too, by the way.
I am. And there's nothing wrong with that. And they're all,
Underground is still shining.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because all this website's still doing well.
Because talent is talent. Talent is talent. Talent is talent. If people can see it, talent is talent. You can't just not. I mean, the only time talent doesn't win is if you hide it, if it's hidden. People can't help but notice talent. Someone does something crazy, and if you're around and you see it, right? Like, you see, bro, like, I remember there's a time I walked onto a driving range, right? There's a driving range, and there was a bunch of high school kids that were, I don't know, it was like after school golf club, or they were on the golf team or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But there was just one kid. There was one kid that just like sounded different than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Just, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. How old is this kid? You know what I'm saying? Did you see the club head speed on that thing? You know, like, I mean, you just can't help but note, you know, you're like, you know, you're just better than everybody else. You can see it. So, I don't know. Anyways, let's let this rock.
Left-leaning community. Is there this idea that like they're not around or you can't find them? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
No. But there's not this cultural energy around.
They're not all as big as they were, because I think careers go up and down.
I mean, I interviewed like a late night comedy writer who was like, this
Kimmel.
Again, another anonymous person that she's about to tell a story about. we got to stop doing this, or we got to call them out for it. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't journalism. You can't just be like, hey, a person told me a thing that about blah, 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 and then just tell it. You just can't do that. Not in a situation like this, right? I just told an anecdotal story.
Yeah.
I just told an anecdotal story to kind of like prove a point about some particular thing. Only that real recognizes real. That's all. Yeah. Like when you're in a just to display a situation where there may be a time where you're playing a sport or your thing and you can recognize that someone is very talented around you. Okay. That's all that was. But what she's doing is she's attacking comedy, saying that somehow there is no left when she's just like making stuff up about how there is no left. You see the difference? I'm just trying not to, I'm not a hypocrite, I promise. Let's let it rock.
Alan, this thing is spent, but like, okay, but all those people who had the kind of like left-wing shows like Amy Schumer and Michelle Wolf, those Samantha Bee, those have all been canceled. All those shows are canceled.
Well, but
did she just name all female? Which call? Hold on real fast.
Alan, this thing is spent, but like, okay, but all those people who had the kind of like left-wing shows.
What does that mean? This thing is spent.
Oh, Alan,
this thing is spent, but like, okay, but all those people.
This thing is spent. What does that mean? Can somebody tell me what that means?
A comedy writer who's like, this
Kimmel, Fallon.
This thing is spent, but like, okay, but all those people who had the kind of like left-wing shows like Amy Schumer and Michelle Wolf, those Samantha Bee, those have all been canceled.
Okay, so he named like 10 comedians that were doing well, and she just named 3 that got their stuff canceled.
Yeah.
You see what I'm like? It's like, why are we using your examples when I got more people? I just gave you more examples of people that are doing well than you just gave me of people that are getting their shit canceled. Like, how is your point valid at that point? But okay. Were you gonna say something? I thought you were gonna say something.
All their shows are canceled.
Well, but there'll be new ones. There'll be new ones.
Great answer, Tim.
I mean, do you not have the faith? Do you think there's going to be no left-wing comedy?
I don't see like a little ecosystem.
I love you. It's like so condescending, but like not. he's pretty good at that. Like, you know what I'm saying? The condescending, like, I'm not sure if he's joking. Right? He's really good.
Or like a galaxy. I mean, you might dispute this, but like in the sort of right of center,
there's a galaxy
world, right?
Establishment.
There's Rogan, and there's all this stuff.
I mean, again, is Trevor Noah not popular? He does arenas.
No.
He's an arena comedian. He's one of the most popular comedians in the country. Hassan Minaj, Ronnie Chang. These guys are all left wing, and they're all really funny, really popular comics who I'm friends with and like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this thing's happening. Whatever everyone thinks happening, I don't think it's happening. This idea that like left wing like, where are they? Where are they? Where are they to be found? Where's Amy Schumer? I don't know. She's in her $15 million townhouse in Brooklyn. I think she'll be okay.
Run that back.
Where's Amy Schumer? I don't know. She's in her $15 million townhouse in Brooklyn. I think she'll be okay. I think these people will.
But her show was canceled.
She just had a show on Hulu called Life and Beth. She just had a movie come out on Netflix. I mean, Amy's doing good.
Okay.
Yeah, they're fine. All these people are fine.
I mean, look, that's how you deal with that kind of stuff, man.
Conspiracy nuts.
Say what?
And they call it right-wing conspiracy nuts.
I wanted to just use this as an example of how to handle these type of interviews. I mean, she's definitely trying to be softer. Like I said, she says some shit here in a minute. You want to slap the shit out of her. But as of right now, she's pretty safe. Here, let me see. There's got another clip here, right about here. Okay, so here's a question, Broken Blade, before I get into this. How many times do you allow someone to kind of like insult you before you push back? Like, do you like pretend like you don't hear it the first time, or do you check them right in the moment? Guess it just, or I don't know, just depend. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it would depend on the situation.
Yeah.
Usually I just try to ignore them and keep my distance. But by experience, I think I'll start to lean more toward checking in the moment.
So, okay. So saying,
never seemed, in many cases, does not seem to work. It's like they refuse to take the head of mistake by silence for weakness.
So you have to just kind of flat out to give them the business right off top. I generally lean that way myself.
Because I think 2 occasions I'm trying to keep a distance. They made shit physical. And the threats had to be spoken.
You know, I do find that if boundaries aren't set appropriately, then it seems like people will line step until they come into until it becomes physical.
Yeah.
You know,
All the habitual
line steppers. Yeah, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And you know, it's funny, man. I saw it. I saw that same kind of thing display itself in a video of a girl that she was destroying a conservative booth at a college campus, and she had a big old bottle of tomato juice, and she like splashed it on their like board that they had stuff written on. And one of the guys was like, hey, like he like hit the bottle, like knocked the bottle down and like pushed it away and was like, what are you doing? And then she kind of like, you know, had the crazy eyes, and she went around and she kind of was like slinging tomato juice on some of their other stuff. And it was like, once she realized though that they weren't going to stop her, she went around to the other side of the booth and started to like pour stuff on the rest of their stuff. Like, it was almost like after she did it the first time, I think she kind of expected to get punched or expected to like have somebody like do something to her. And since nobody did anything, you could see her like level of confidence went up, and then she did another crazy thing. And then they were like, stop, bitch, you're crazy. What are you doing? And then she saw that and no one did anything. So she amped it up again. And then she ended up, she had a big old bottle of tomato juice and emptied the whole bottle of tomato juice on their stuff. And then she eventually just kind of realized that she was in trouble and she walked off. But it was funny because you could really see the stages. Like, you could be like, oh, they're not going to do anything. I can go a little further. Oh, they're not going to do anything. I can go a little bit further. Oh, they're not going to do anything. I can go a little further. So that's why I asked you, like, you know, when someone shows up in bad faith, then you have to think about that, I guess. That's my point. Let's check this out, because I think our girl here is starting to get frustrated because maybe he's making a little bit too much sense without too much effort, right? Like, she's not even making him sweat. He's still having a good time. Like, he's not even remotely shaken. Let's see how she handles this.
I will text a few of them and go, people are worried about you.
Okay.
I think you're okay.
I mean, if they want to talk to me, I would love to talk.
Sure. I'll put you on a good
Do you
text.
think that represents like where the cultural energy is?
Do you think that's where, now again, the same stupid ass questions I was telling you about before. Do you think that's where the cultural energy is?
Define energy in this case.
That's a great
Such
question.
a vacuous damn term. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Vibes, Broken Blade. Tell me about the vibes. Let's see what she says.
Where the culture seems to be so fractured, I don't know if there's a cultural energy that's moving in any direction. I mean, you could go on YouTube and go, the cultural energy is right. And you go to a college campus and you go, the cultural energy is left. And then you go to the boomers and own all the real estate, and you go, the cultural energy is like paranoid, fear-based, checked out, and is politically amorphous depending on what pills and drinks they've had. I mean, I don't know if you could find where the cultural energy in this country is going. You're doing a lot better than me.
It's a great answer. Great answer. Just watch.
Well, you are on the internet.
I am on the internet.
I think you're playing dumb.
I don't think I'm playing dumb. I really don't know where the culture.
I think you're playing dumb.
Projection.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Hey, that's why you're on here, dog. You right on the money. Absolutely. You are pointing the finger at you and 3 more are pointing back at me. Absolutely. That's so funny. I was around the
Cultural
money.
energy. That means like the idea that we have one dominant cultural energy in this country seems crazy to me. The idea that have we stopped canceling people for silly things? Yes. Why? It got exhausting. Does that mean that everyone's right wing now? No.
Like Fox, I guess it's Fox Nation, but like Fox is doing comedy specials now, and then those comedians do.
Bro, first and foremost, can you be interviewing for CNN and talk shit about Fox? Is that okay? Can you do that? Are you supposed to be doing that? Am I late? I used to think that was like a no-no.
It's unprofessional. I think both sides got to do it.
Okay, got you. Okay, so they both kick dirt on each other at this point. Okay, watch this hypocrisy that's about to go down, though. Watch this. Listen.
I guess it's Fox Nation, but like Fox is doing comedy specials now, and then those comedians do the rounds on like Gutfeld.
Comedy specials are very cheap to make and very cheap to produce. I think CNN also did a few. Didn't they do Colin Quinn's, who's a brilliant comedian? Didn't they put his on?
We have a comedy show.
Yeah, like I don't.
What the fuck are you talking about? Listen.
Also did a few. Didn't they do Colin Quinn's, who's a brilliant comedian? Didn't they put his on?
We have a comedy show.
Yeah, like I don't think it's. If your point
and would you be like, yes, I want to work there. I want to be on CNN's comedy show.
Hey, call me.
Okay, this is an attempt to move the goalpost, ladies and gentlemen. We just want to keep. So he got caught in a bit of a what would you say that was a misdirection? She was trying to gaslight him. That's a form of gaslighting, right?
Yeah.
Like saying like, what the hell are you guys doing comedy shows when we do comedy shows? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. And then she got called out and then she kind of moved the goalpost. Yeah, but you wouldn't do it though, right? Like you wouldn't come over to CNN and do a comedy show, right? All right. Isn't that crazy? Like she did it. I must say, listening back now again, I've already like gone through this and taken my notes or whatever, but then now listening to it again, she is pretty clever. Like kind of clever. Like there is some stuff that real time I don't know that you would notice. She's kind of sneaky. Like that was an immediate goalpost. Like she didn't hang up. She hasn't hung up on any of these L's that she's taken just now. Like if you get called out in an interview, basically saying that something that you just said was untrue or incomplete, like in my opinion, that's a pretty serious deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like your interview is, again, dishonest, disingenuous at best if every example you try to use is an actual lie. She just tried to use in this video, we've used 3 examples that she's used as arguments that were bullshit, that he called out immediately. So.
Pay me. But I will say that I understand what you mean. If you look at young people that went through COVID, has there been a rightward shift? Absolutely. 110%. When they grow up and they can't afford anything, will there be a leftward shift? Probably.
Okay.
I just think things are more malleable and they're changing a lot. I think a lot of those people are, a lot of them are pretty socially moderate and liberal. Mm-hmm. I think they just got really annoyed during this moral panic we had with cancellations, and then none of them could go to their prom. And there certainly was a rightward shift in that direction. But I don't think there's like this crazy shift all over the country.
What about in comedy?
I think.
Again, what do you think? What about in comedy? Right? How about you give me a specific question instead of these like, because what happens is people just get to talking and then you, in their conversation, they say something maybe that they shouldn't been able to say. And then you get it's a lazy way of getting a gotcha moment. It just really is. There's really no other way to describe it. It's a lazy way to get a gotcha moment. What are your thoughts, Broken Blade? You're going to chime in.
She's not a journalist.
Ooh, she's not a journalist. She would probably argue with you. It's not a credentialed thing, though, right? I assume you're saying that not from her lack of credentials, but maybe her lack of professionalism.
Yeah. Remember back in the day when journalistic integrity was a thing?
You know, I've heard that word before. I've heard that word, those two words, journalistic integrity. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard things about it. I haven't seen much of that around lately.
The likes of Walter Cronkite, who did his research thoroughly on the Vietnam War. So when he declared on air that he believes the war is unwinnable, it meant something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we have this ingenue coming in here with an emotion that she's trying to gain ammo for and failing.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she got cooked by I'm pretty sure it was a Andrew Tate interview. She was being pretty sure I saw that.
This is the intellectual equivalent of when Monty Python and the Holy Grail getting limbs cut off, just but a scratch. Like, no, you're done. You can't even hold your weapon. You're done.
You're done.
Hop away. It's over.
Pretty much. Well, check this out, man. Steve Bannon comes up. Now, Broken Blade, I've been thinking about this. It's hard out here for a Black Republican. It's hard out here for a Black conservative. Because we got the fools on one side, cooning and buffooning. Straight cooning and buffooning. Tap dancing and shucking and jiving and all that and then on the other side we got the pookies and the pastor, the pimp and pastor pimps on the other side. And everybody's grifting, right? Like the left wants you to stay exactly where you're at and just shut up and pay, you know? And then on the right, these assholes won't call off the dogs. Be like, hey man, like you got to call your race soldiers off, bro. Like what, like, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like the time, like we're not in, like, I get it. All right. We got the Latinos. All right. I get it. The illegal immigrants. Okay. I get it. You got permission to what is it when you target, you were able to target a group of people and you were able to rough them up the way you wanted to and get that energy off. You know what I'm saying? But now it's time, right? Okay. So now it's time to deal with the people that are supposed to be here. And like, you got to chill with that heavy handed stuff. In my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So they're talking about Steve Bannon because he interviewed Steve Bannon. It was a good interview. Maybe we'll cover it.
Nice.
And I think there was like a moment of well, after this, it'll come after this. Let's just hear what she has to say. My bad. I was getting ahead of myself.
Just have a shrimp cocktail. It's nice to not do things. So I don't know if I'll fight that as hard. We'll see.
Did you feel like I felt like when I was listening to your interview with Steve Bannon, he was like not exactly pitching you, but kind of trying to draft you into his project.
Well, I don't know.
Okay. Interesting use of words. Project. What is the thing that the left keeps trying to tie around the neck of the right? Project 2025. So they put project at the beginning of everything to try to make it seem like that's where everybody is. Now, let's
know what is like giving me a job per se?
No, like his view of what MAGA should be and what Trump should represent.
Steve Bannon, again, like RFK, whether you like him or dislike him.
Once again, we're talking politics with a comedian. I just wanted to remind everybody, we're talking politics with a comedian. I just wanted to remind Who? Ja Rule? What does Ja Rule think?
Has been saying a lot of the same things for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only person I've ever heard in this country say, why aren't there more Black and Spanish people in tech?
Mm-hmm.
He's the only person I've ever heard in this country say, why aren't there more Black and Spanish people in tech?
One more time for the slow people in the back.
He's the only person I've ever heard in this country say, why aren't there more Black and Spanish people in tech? If you can go find examples of people saying things like that on the world stage, I mean, Steve Bannon is one of those people who said that. He's the only guy who's critiquing Elon Musk from the right.
Mm-hmm.
At his stature, and he's a very interesting guy to talk to. I don't know if he's recruiting me for his project, like he was like, and you're gonna, but I think he was basically saying, here's my worldview. And I had a lot of liberals call me after that and go, do I agree with Steve Bannon? Like, what the hell's going on? A lot of people were calling me because the things he was saying were kind of, you have all these critiques of Elon from the left. There's one guy making them from the right. I'm like, why not interview this guy?
Do you think he was honestly representing his views?
Go ahead, Broken Blade. You should have seen how fast you reacted. Go ahead.
I was already just going in again. Journalistic integrity. Do you feel? Already rose the eyebrow. Moving that goalpost like a motherfucker.
I was telling you, bro. Yup.
Besides the evidence, okay, he said this and that. You can't really call the guy racist. He wants to see more Blacks and Hispanics in tech. Do you think he meant it though?
It's like, what do you...
like the left is always claimed to care about the plight of Black people. Yeah, so many of us seem to be in the same situation.
Facts.
Did they really care when they said that though?
It's a very, very good question, Broken Blade. Very good question.
I mean, I'm not God and I'm not omniscient, so I can never understand what's going on.
Great.
One guy making them from the right. I'm like, why not interview this guy?
Do you think he was honestly representing his views?
I mean, I'm not God and I'm not omniscient, so I can never understand what's going on inside some.
First of all, once again, this dude, did you see? He didn't even pause, Broken Blade. I know we're watching this at 1.25 speed, but he didn't even pause when that came out. It was almost like he was expecting it.
I mean, I'm not God and I'm not omniscient, so I can never understand.
And I'm not omniscient. I mean, that's just a great, you know what I'm saying? Great retort. Shout out to him.
Understand what's going on inside someone's head.
He did run a website that had a tag for Black crime.
Now, Broken Blade. I want you to see something.
Someone's head.
He did run a website that had a tag for Black.
Black crime. Yeah, he did have on his website, he did have a tag that said Black crime. He sure did. He sure did. But the question becomes, so what have you been doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what, somehow that's worse than what y'all been doing? And Cody Marshall comes right on the money and says, moving the goalpost again. I'm telling you, bro.
But you say that, does that come from a sincere place?
You should have fired it right back, huh? Does that come from a sincere place? That's funny. I mean, we're not going to talk about, there used to be a girl in my elementary school that looked just like this person right here. I don't remember her last name, but her first name was Kim. She used to pee herself all the time. Like all the time. She smelled like pee, like actually smelled like pee. Yeah. I don't know I don't know whether it was just her home life or she wasn't quite all there up top also. But she smelled like pee. And she looked just like this person. Like, if you were to tell me this is Kim from elementary school, I would believe you for sure. I'd be like, oh yeah, that sounds about. Oh shit, how's she doing? Is she doing okay? Is she all right? That's how much she looks like this person.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be shocked.
What, the Breitbart
Yes.
website? I don't think everything on Breitbart is.
Is she flirting with her racism?
What, the Breitbart
Yes.
website? I don't think everything on Breitbart is phenomenal, obviously. But I also, when I'm doing an interview and someone's sitting there and they're saying these are the views,
Mm-hmm.
if the question is he serious about it or is he accurately representing his views? I don't know. There's a lot of people who've talked about black crime that aren't talking about it from a inherently racist point of view. Now, I don't know what that tag on that website was. And I'm not saying it was the greatest, most highly inspired discussion. I'm just saying that, like, when he's sitting there going, I think the American working class has been shortchanged and that we should tax the rich and all these things coming from this guy who got Donald Trump elected, saying things that would make a lot of conservatives that I grew up with start vomiting. It's an interesting conversation.
But I would be skeptical of him as a figure of racial transcendence.
As many of black men in this space have become skeptical of the left in general.
The feeling is mutual, my dear.
Absolutely.
Fabulous point, Broken Blade. So this goes on for a little while longer. And I have to say that there is like a moment of truth. There are two little clips left I wanted to talk about. This one here kind of lets me know that the networks are worried. This right here lets me know that they're worried. And I think this might be the moment where she realized that they're washed. Let's let this rock.
Wrong, but I don't, again, he's shown no evidence that he's sympathetic to that belief system.
I'm like kind of having an epiphany, like in this interview. It's like, I wonder, it is possible that maybe the
she's like, I'm having an epiphany in this interview. No shit.
Belief system.
I'm like kind of having an epiphany, like in this interview. It's like, I wonder, it is possible that maybe the journalistic fixation on the whole podcast thing is partly like, you guys are kind of taking our jobs, but not doing the shitty part.
Okay, Broken Blade. You're kind of taking our jobs or doing our jobs, but not having to do the shitty part. What part do you think is the shitty part?
That could be a number of things.
Here, let me let her say it again for you.
Podcast thing is partly like, it is possible
to that belief system.
I'm like kind of having an epiphany, like in this interview. It's like, I wonder, it is possible that maybe the journalistic fixation on the whole podcast thing is partly like, you guys are kind of taking our jobs, but not doing the shitty part, which is like the uncomfortable thing in the room that sucks, which is like, are you bad? It's like
are the journalists doing that? Are they?
Look at, I love this so much. Watching it back again. It makes me listen.
Say like, you guys are kind of taking our jobs, but not doing the shitty part, which is like the uncomfortable thing in the room that sucks, which is like, are you bad? It's like
are the journalists doing that? Are
maybe
they
not?
That?
Maybe not.
Are they doing the are you bad? Is that what journalists?
I have to do the are you bad?
Sure, but is that what is your view of and it's a fair question. Is your view of mainstream American journalism calling out powerful people? Is that what we've been seeing?
Do you read ProPublica?
Okay, but do you know what I mean? Like when we
it's not a monolith. It's not.
And I also just don't think that one interview with JD Vance is doing a journalist job. I think it's one interview.
I am sort of speaking to you as representative.
And then the next thing I'm talking about Oompa Loompas.
Right.
So that's the thing. It's like I think this should be a time for journalists to go, wow, we're going to really supercharge and do a lot of stuff and be great. Yeah. Jane Mayer's not accusing me of taking her job. Seymour Hershey's not saying I'm taking his job, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just wondering if maybe and I'm not taking your job. You're going all over the place, getting into these deep holes and fleshing out stuff. I'm not doing any of that. Yeah. I'm sitting and having a conversation with somebody, whether it's a friend of mine, a guy who wants to be the vice president, or I'm yelling at like a family member who can't respond because they don't have a show.
Once again, he took her example and was like, is that what's really happening? Right? Like, I need you to run that back for me. I'm going to say it out loud to you, and I want you to confirm if you said what I thought you just said, or if you sound every bit as dumb as I thought you did. Shout out to Jacques. What's up, bro? How are you doing, Jacques? I'm in a bind, Nate Carter. Shout out to Jacques. That's funny. She's probably being a weatherman during a natural disaster. Yeah, facts.
That's
shout out to Cody Marshall.
Podcast,
Yes, but one, a lot of people get their news from podcasts, and two,
that's not my problem.
They develop an extremely tight mental relationship with you. Again, it's been called the friendship simulator,
and that's fine. But like, if people are only getting their
Broken Blade, Is a podcast capable of making you change your political affiliation?
Not even if, only if that podcast is consistently spitting facts and have the receipts to back up what they're saying.
Yeah.
And they can prove the other side's been consistently lying.
Yeah. Right? Like we need, you can't just pop up and just say something and get me to flip.
At worst, other than that, they can actually they can do a lot of good. They can humanize the other side.
I mean, some would consider that a bad thing. Is that a bad thing? Or is that a good thing?
We're all Americans.
I'm just asking. I'm asking for I'm playing devil's advocate. They don't want to. I mean, because part of the issue is that they say that the right shouldn't be platforming these people, and the reason why the people on the left won't have the people come from the right is because they don't want to platform these people. You see what I'm saying? And so,
two podcasts in which kind of started shifting me more toward the right. What about the war? Actually, it was a Daily Show. He interviewed Tony Snow.
Okay.
Who was still defending the war, but he wasn't being a douchebag about it. Watched the Daily Show a lot, back in the day. 9 times out of 10, he had anybody right-leaning. They either repeat the same rhetoric or try to bully Jon Stewart on his own show. One or the other. Tony, he was very respectful, but he still defended the Bush administration, but very respectful, very cool conversation. The other one was now retired Navy SEAL Jocko Willink.
Okay.
One thing that was pissing me off a lot about hearing these guys supporting the war was how callous they were talking about these soldiers' lives. The energy, sometimes you got to break a few eggs, Yo, fuck you.
Yeah. Like, when was the last time you broke an egg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hearing Jocko, he was in the front lines. He was in this shit. Through his time, his tours of duty, he only lost 3 men. But in the podcast, at first, he got emotional. He's still more than these 3 men, but he still thought we needed to be over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I'm willing to hear this guy out, hear what he has to say.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
For sure. So he proved himself, through his actions, at least made you want to listen.
Yeah.
To hear what he had to say. Absolutely. So authenticity matters.
Yes. Which is the friendship simulator. No, we're just being ourselves. It's not the bullshit media voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things in a certain way.
Well, see, here's the funny part about that is that these people have broken off the Don Lemon, just to use an example, and he goes off on his own. He's sitting in front of a microphone and he's on the equal playing field as us, and he's struggling right now. He's having a hard time, without a producer and somebody sitting there telling him what to say and bringing him his latte and, having his boyfriend come and rub his feet, you know what I'm saying? And his husband bringing him flowers. He doesn't know what to do. He's not that funny. He's not charismatic. I can name out 5 people from our side of YouTube that are more charismatic than good old Don Lemon. And that's easy work. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking charismatic, jokes, presentation, the whole nine. So these people, it's funny, you can see how frustrated they are because these people that are seemingly these nobodies, right? These people that no one's ever heard of Dennis Sperling. No one's heard of Tim Black. Tim Black be cooking. Uncle D be cooking. Tariq Nasheed be cooking.
Theo Coop.
Coop cooking. Shout out to the Viral Way podcast, by the way. Those guys be cooking. They're a little bit younger than me. They're our age, a little bit younger though. But those guys be cooking. So there's so much talent out there. I imagine that these CNN people are so frustrated right now They've got to be. I didn't realize how bad it was until I watched this interview. And I'm like, wow, they really keep circling back to this. Like, oh, podcasters. You might as well, every time she says podcasters, go podcasters. Like that's how you sound whenever you, right? Who's this? This interview is actually a masterclass on how to, you know what? I don't know if you've been here for the entire conversation, but we have absolutely, positively mentioned this. This is a great point. We agree with you, David St. John, for sure. I mean, I really think that she's going to watch this back and be so frustrated. She's like, this person disarmed me at every single turn. And the thing of it is that she couldn't even argue because he kept disarming her with her own example, which I've never really seen that happen through the entire interview, like the entire interview, except for this one part. Here we go. We're at the end. We're at the end. We've made it to the very end. And there was one more thing that got said, which I thought was completely inappropriate.
I believe this, that, and the other thing. And I go, that sounds good. But then in practice, he does the opposite thing. I call him out. And if you don't call them out, that's when you suck.
Okay. Now, do you ever wrestle with the question, am I bad? For example, I'll just give you one from my own life. I actually interviewed one of the students who came under scrutiny from Homeland Security. And
once again, another example of somebody of an anecdotal story. And again, it's okay to give an anecdotal story. Right, Broken Blade? Like you can give an anecdotal story, but there's a time and place for an anecdotal story, in my opinion. Like you can't prove every point with an imaginary person and an imaginary story. You can't do that.
Again, though, what the hell type of question is that? Have you ever wrestled with whether or not I'm bad? The man's promoting a special.
Well, because the whole thing is whether or not you should be platforming these other people. So what they're basically jousting over whether or not he should have interviewed JD Vance and Steve Bannon.
Again, you ask the questions. What's his name? Leor.
Leor Cohen. I got mouths to feed.
Yeah.
Speaking of Broken Blade, are you in my head? Are we communicating telepathically? Because after this, we're going to talk about UMG. You know what I'm saying? I told you we're super people. I'm telling you, we are freaking mutants, and we didn't even know it. I'm trying to think where. Let me find the exact moment because I don't know if this was.
Rather than
this is it.
Show up to be deported, left the country.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, should I have done that story differently so people cared more or whatever? Do you wrestle, like obviously like 15 years ago, did you get into comedy to like do a commentary on politicians? I
always had opinion.
Ain't that something?
Most people get into comedy because they like telling jokes, which is again why I said shout out to Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, he
like that, like
he did it his way. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah, not all this politics, this, that, and the third. Just somebody upstage just telling dick jokes.
Facts.
Shit, man.
Yeah, facts. Look, man, don't change nothing for nobody.
Yes, and some of them are funny, and some of them I guess interesting. So it's like, did I get into it to interview the vice president? No, I never thought that would be possible.
Right.
I never thought I'd have a show that was big enough for the vice president would come on, or the guy who's going to be the vice president, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I get into this to have an opinion about stuff, then say what I think? I think it's why a lot of people get into comedy. Do I feel responsible for Trump winning? No.
No, that's not
and
a question.
Also, do I think, are we asking the same question to the people when Biden won and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden wrote a blank check to Benjamin Netanyahu to do anything he wanted in Israel? Are we holding all of those people to the same standard? And are we asking them, do you feel bad because you got an administration elected that wrote a blank check to someone to kill tens of thousands of people? Are we using this across the board? Because then we're never going to have to talk to another politician. If the standard is,
bro, I figured it out. He's got his substitute teacher voice on. That's what it is. Because it's like condescending, but not. It's calm. It's disarming. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're talking to a little kid. Is that what we're doing? Is that what they're doing? Oh yeah. I mean, if you do it like that and then maybe like that, then what do you like that? Like he's got his substitute teacher on. That's what he's say what?
Fucking up.
Yeah, yeah.
Susan, go stand in the corner.
Do you want to flunk? You don't want to flunk out and have to do this all over again. It's embarrassing. You want to get into college, right? You shouldn't be sleeping with all those boys. You shouldn't be sucking dick in the bathroom. Okay. It's not good for you to be sucking dick in the bathroom. That's not what you should not. It's not good for, you know what? You're going to get pink eye and you're going to get strep throat. You might get the herpes, you know, like you just don't want to do it. You know, it's just, you're too young for this. You've got your whole life ahead of you. There'll be many of bathrooms that you'll be able to suck dick in. You just got to get out of high school. That's all. That's what I think. That's what I'm saying. So he's handled this entire interview, bro. Just listen to what's coming.
Don't talk to anyone who's going to do terrible things. You can never speak to a politician in this country ever for any reason. And I don't think politicians are we administration elected that wrote a blank check to someone to kill tens of thousands of people. Are we using this across the board? Because then we're never going to have to talk to another politician. If the standard is don't talk to anyone who's going to do terrible things, you can never speak to a politician in this country ever for any reason. And I don't know that that's the way forward. You interview a lot of people. Does that get them more fans in some cases? I don't know. Who knows? You know? But if we're never going to interview another politician, that's fine. But every single politician in America is probably going to commit some war crime in office. This is pretty obvious. So you can never speak to them. And that might be the standard. There is an argument that no politician should ever go on any type of show that isn't like a public lashing where you have 3 people come on and they just attack or whatever. And then that politician can only participate in these 3 debates and they're all publicly funded or whatever. But if you're having all of this different media landscape where people are popping in and out of these things, you're going to end up talking to people who do things you disagree with and you find abhorrent. And if you don't call them out, you can't get in a time machine and go back and realize that they were going to do all these things. But if you don't call them out, like the Democratic Party didn't call out Obama when he was doing drone strikes, it was Jeremy Scahill, there was like 4 guys doing it. That's when you don't have integrity. But I want to always be so like consistent with, if I feel it's wrong, I want to say it's wrong. But yeah,
I was pretty slick. You can't outpoint a well-informed comedian. I'm sorry, they're too clever. They're too sharp on their feet. They're too quick on their feet. They're too quick-witted. You know, you're not going to just dog walk this guy into a you know, right?
Like this.
Yeah. You're just not gonna. And I imagine that if you didn't do your research on who he is and understand his comedy or understand how well he handles these kinds of situations, then you would walk into this interview the way she has. But there's no way that this guy, whom again, I'm relatively new to, whom I really enjoy his commentary and his takes. If you think that you're going to dog walk him into a corner to get him canceled, you're crazy. You're crazy. She's not skilled enough to do that. She's just not. Clearly she's not. But check this out, because I want you to what you call it. And shout out to Miss Robinson Fit. I love that one point interview. Tim poses the thought experiment that no politician should ever be interviewed. Absolutely. We just talked about that just a second ago. Your timing is impeccable. Check this out. This is the part that I was really like, and this is at the very end, by the way. This is at the very end. If I hadn't listened to the very end, I would have never caught this. But I was just interested. I got to the very end. Who knew? Check this out. Listen.
Dude, I think everybody wrestles with the idea that is what I'm doing good? Is my show good? Is it interesting? Is it funny? Is it worthwhile? Is it worth people's time? But, you know, if I'm going to speak to any politician, I'm going to probably accept the fact that they're going to end up doing something down the road that, you know, they're going to drone strike someone. There's going to be a kid in Yemen who dies, and it's a guy that I've spoken to, or a girl, or a lady.
You mentioned that
this is what it
became more right-wing after COVID. Are comedians moving to meet audience demand, or are they shaping the audience?
No, comedians criticize what's absurd. I think a lot of people find COVID restrictions absurd. I think standing 6 feet behind someone in a circle at McDonald's just seemed crazy. And if you weren't making fun of it, I don't really know what you were doing.
Someone described.
No. We gonna say something?
Again, one of the reasons, like anybody that was following Rogan saw his transition from leaning left to right, and the beer bug did play a big part in that.
Absolutely.
part of it being like many states let up their restrictions. California state kept theirs in place longer than many other states.
Yep.
What's his name? Gavin
Gavin Newsom. Yep.
Seen partying, so it up close interaction, no distancing, no mask.
Gavin Newsom.
Y'all caught doing that. And basically his energy, do as I say, not as I do.
Facts.
They the left wing media destroyed Rogan over the whole ivermectin thing.
Yep.
He's taking horse pills.
Yeah.
And last I heard, FDA is studying ivermectin as a means to treat the beer bug.
Broken Blade, it had been around. It had been used for regular purposes. It was an actual hit job on medicine, which is crazy. Like, the pharmaceutical company basically like went on a concerted effort to destroy another medicine so that they could sell a freaking, what you call it? It's wild. But yeah, go ahead. That's wild. It's unbelievable.
And they wonder why he said, the hell with this, I'm moving to Texas.
Yeah.
And right now the folks are starting to make far more sense to me.
I agree. 110%. All right. So we went through all of that, right? Okay. We chose like 6 clips, a lot of clips of this interview. I thought it was pretty interesting, bits and pieces, but check this, but to finish though, just to put the finish it, put the icing on this cake. I want you to listen to what this broad said and tell me, never mind. Just listen.
You to me as
It seemed crazy. And if you weren't making fun of it, I don't really know what you were doing.
someone described you to me as a gay Rush Limbaugh. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's an.
Let me run that back.
Someone described you to me as a gay Rush Limbaugh. What do you think of that?
I don't know what you were doing.
Someone described you to me as a gay Rush Limbaugh. What do you think of that?
Well, I think what you were doing.
Someone described you to me as a gay Rush Limbaugh. What do you think of that?
Well, I think what you were doing.
Someone described you to me as a gay Rush Limbaugh. What do you think of that?
Someone described you as a gay Rush Limbaugh. What do you think of that?
Well, they should have said,
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
The audacity.
The audacity. And look at her face. This is why you single, bitch. This is why you single. Because because you're not a nice person. You're a terrible human being and you need to be slapped. Why would you
face up a shit star?
Right?
Absolutely.
You right? Like, oh, you are really proud of yourself, aren't you?
You are proud. Like, oh, did that cause a problem? Sorry.
What are you gonna do about it? Trust me. I've heard a couple of ladies say some shit like, what are you gonna do about it? And they paid the price. Okay. Because what happens is every once in a while you come across a dude that does not care, that don't care, that absolutely believes in equal rights and equal lefts. Absolutely. Absolutely. I happen to be one of those people. And don't ask me how I know. Let's see how he responds. This was a bullshit question though. It was, why would you, especially at the end of the interview, like, it was pretty whack how she did this.
Yeah, just out right there, helmet like.
Yeah. Like, because that's a bullshit way of doing it. I'm not calling you a gay Rush Limbaugh. Somebody that I can't tell you who it was that you don't know, whatever, said that you were a gay Rush Limbaugh. What do you think of that? I don't know. I think you're a freaking. Somebody told me you were a. You know what I'm saying? Like you were a freaking smelly cunt. What do you think about that? Like what? Who even does that?
Somebody said you were an ugly version of Van Coulter, like that.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't know. Shit. What is your opinion on somebody that I don't know what is your opinion on somebody saying something whom I'll never met, who I don't know, whom you're not going to tell me the name of?
You can't affect me professionally or personally.
Like, what? Oh, so you just want to insult me to my face, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
You just want to
yeah.
call me a gay Rush Limbaugh to my face without me slapping the shit out of you. Okay, bet. Got you. And shout out to Cody Marshall. It was her. You're absolutely right. That's exactly it.
Yes, sir.
Let's hear what he has to say, though. Let's let him speak up for himself.
Well, I think that's an insult, but I think he was very good at what he did. And I think you also talked to a lot of comedians with no money who dislike me.
No, this was not a hater. This was not a hater.
This was a lot of the people that live in your neighborhood can't pay their bills. And unfortunately, they all went into comedy and a lot of them didn't succeed. So I think they're saying it as an insult, but I actually thought he was very good at his job.
Well, think of Rush Limbaugh in the way of, one, able to carry an audience along many, many hours solo.
Sure.
And then, but two, you really did drive opinion.
I think he did for sure. Yeah.
Well,
but I think it wasn't said that wasn't said in like in a complimentary way from your
This
friends.
was not a hater. This was
not a hater.
This was
Not a hater. Not a hater. Oh, he's a gay Rush. He's a gay Rush Limbaugh. Oh, I meant that in the most respectful way.
That's another thing that irks me about the left. Like, even like the most foaming at the mouth, like racist pundits or whatever. If they say something out of pocket, at least they stand by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about even on the left, like just pussies, man. Consistently. Yeah. Remember some years ago, interview with Jerry Seinfeld, some interview where you had to try to brush past this remark about he never having black comedians on his like show, Cars and Coffee or whatever, him just driving around drinking coffee, talking to the comedians. Like he never had black guests on the show.
Yeah, Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah.
And something like, wait, what? And you tried to skip past it like he didn't say it, so he wouldn't have the space to address it. Like, yo, kiss my ass.
Yeah.
I know he's at least had Chris Rock on it.
Bro, again, I had that clip. I had that clip that I posted on Shorts where I was talking about how white people, they need us to hate so bad. Like they need us to hate. They need us. White people, what would you do if there were no black people for you to kick dirt on? Like, what would you do? What would you do if there were no black people for you to accuse of stealing shit? Like, what would you do if there were no black people on like mugshots all over the place? Like, what would you do? You would be empty. Like you would be like, what am I to do every day if there are no black people to kick and punch and to make fun of? What would I do? I don't know. But every time I think that, maybe it's getting beyond that time, we keep finding ourselves in situations where these folks really keep bringing it like who keeps, I don't know. It's white folks that keep reminding me that I'm black. I'm just saying, it's y'all keep reminding me. I'm trying to just live my life. Is y'all that keep bringing it up to me. Oh, you're black. You're not supposed to be here. Oh, you're black. Your credit's not supposed to be good. Oh, you're black. You're not supposed to be driving that car. Oh, you're black. How do you live here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's y'all are doing it. You know what I mean? Like I don't show up and be like, hey, I'm black and I got good credit. I'm black and I don't have any kids. I don't have any illegitimate, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't show up that way. It's like I show up and they're like, yeah, you must have a bunch of kids all over, illegitimate children all over the place. Like it's always directed at me. I have to defend myself all of the time. And I think that people miss that part. Like that's just the part of it that I think doesn't really get talked about. Shout out to Solo Dolo, man. Salute to y'all from the clouds, bro. That's my brother from another mother right there. Salute to you, Solo Dolo. Thank you so much for blessing us. We truly, truly appreciate it. And I want to go ahead and turn this up for you. Give you one of these numbers. Shout out to Solo Dolo. Yeah, I thought that was whack that she said that, bro, at the end there. That was pretty foul. What are your thoughts, man? I'm keeping it light. I'm switching it up a little bit. I thought we would cover something a little bit different. you know, a little bit different than what we normally do. You kind of bringing in some other elements, you know, a little cultural commentary on, you know. But I mean, how do you think Tim Dillon did? Like, what was the biggest? Do you think that did he successfully make her look dumb? Or did she do that herself?
Bit of both. I think she did that herself. Absolutely.
Right.
Unprepared.
It didn't seem like about his. She didn't know much about his comedy. Seemed like.
Yeah, and that was another thing. If it was not research comedy, like, what are you doing? I'll watch comedy to laugh. Like, I know a lot about comedy because I enjoy hearing jokes.
Yeah. Yeah. Big facts. Big facts. So, Broken Blade. So I'm clicking through, just seeing some shorts, whatever. And I see this what you call it here, this short here. And the title says, well, listen to what he says. Let's just listen.
Wu-Tang.
Okay.
Wu-Tang.
NWA or Wu-Tang Clan?
Wu-Tang.
Okay.
Wu-Tang is for the kids. Wu-Tang was dropping knowledge and positivity.
Right.
You know, NWA brought the age of destruction. NWA brought the age of destruction to our children and our culture. I respect all of them as men,
Right.
but as the art form, and you want me to speak on the art form, I'm gonna tell you what it is. That's where it started. That's where the agenda started, and that's where the destruction began. When the president sent them that letter, they went ham with that shit.
Right.
And WA ran away with it in such a way where it was like, for real?
Word.
That's all we gonna do? It was genius for them, and they made millions of dollars off of it, but look at what it caused. We always say f the police, but they said it on record.
On record.
Absolutely. For the record. And I respect them for that too.
What do you think about that take, Broken Blade?
He absolutely has a point.
He has a point. He absolutely has a point. He absolutely has a point. It made me dig a little bit. Made me dig a little bit. Now, did we know who backed NWA? I'm not gonna ask you specifically. I'm just gonna say it was a Universal Music Group. Universal. And I was like, you know what? How big is Universal for real? Like, how big is it for real? Like if we really look into the money, like, what's it really looking like? Like, what's the real situation looking like? You know what I mean? Like, what's really going on?
Right.
And, you know, and then you jump on the Google machine, and, you know, once again, you don't have to go super duper deep. You don't have to go deep. Pause. Got to get my pause game on. And then I started realizing how one particular group really does have so much power and or influence. I think we think that we hear all of these record companies thinking that they're separate entities, not necessarily realizing that they're under an umbrella. This umbrella looks like this: Universal Music Group labels, Universal Music Group. It owns and has a joint share in many of the record labels listed here below. According to the UMG official website, the main labels are Abbey Road Studios, Capitol Music Group, Decca Records, Def Jam Records, Deutsche Grammophon, I would imagine that's German or Dutch. I don't know. Isn't that German or Dutch? Anyways, German. EMI, Interscope, Geffen, A&M, Island Records, Mercury Records, Motown Records, Polydor Records, Republic Records, Verb Label Group, Virgin Records, as well as other UMG divisions, Universal Music Enterprise Music Corporation of America, formerly Universal Music Group Nashville, Universal Music Latin Entertainment, and Universal Music Publishing Group. Now, Broken Blade,
Wow.
that was a mouthful.
Yeah.
But that is not even a fraction of what I'm about to show you. Broken Blade,
The moment you said Abbey Road, like they're international.
Say what?
The moment you said Abbey Road, like they're international.
You know what, Broken Blade, you are right on the money, sir. You are right on the money. Right on the money. In fact, okay, for this next part, all of my people that are listening, this is going to get a little bit monotonous. This is going to kind of go long, not because I want it to pause, but because it's just that much.
Right.
Okay. So let's go through this real quick. And I'm going to try to be fast. Interscope Capital Records Group, Interscope, Giffen and A&M Records, Interscope, Giffen, A&M, Aftermath, AWGE, Billion Dollar Baby, Cloud9, Tunchi, Kirby, Shady Records, F2, Maloof Music, Top Dog Entertainment, that's TDE, right? That's Kendrick and them. Darkroom Records, Downtown Records, Dreamville Records, that's J. Cole. Streamline Records, Opium, Suretone Records, Weapons of Mass Entertainment, Zone 4, Tropical Records, Kinda Corner, Hybe, which is also includes Big Hit Music, Source Music, The Lift Lab, Pledis Entertainment, Co's Entertainment, Ador, Cinematic Music Group, Downtown Records, 222 Records, Ears Drummers Entertainment, Neat Recordings, Hit Since 87, Division 1, Creative Arts Recordings, Play the Beat Entertainment, YG Entertainment, we know what that is, and the Black Label, SMG Music. Okay, that was just Interscope. Let's continue. Here's the Capitol Music Group. Astral Works, I don't know what that's all about, but it sounds kinky. Blue Note Records, Block Entertainment, Capitol Records, Capitol Christian Music Group, Capitol Christian Music Group Canada, again, that had to be separate. Deep Well Records, Deep Well Music Publishing, Get Money Gang Entertainment, G-Unit Records, G-Unit Film and Television, Harvest Records, Higher Hay Records, Manhattan Records, Matriarch Records, Metamorphosis Music, Priority Records, Quality Control. I think that was what let's see here. Yeah, that was what damn, stand up. Ludacris. Red One Records, Siren Records, 10 Records, MI5 Recordings, Original Inc., R&G Music Group, Straight Wired Entertainment, Pine Grove Records, the Track Cartel Records, Tracklist, Sonorious Entertainment, Fader Label. That is just Capitol Music Group. Republic Records. And then there's Island Records. And then there's Def Jam Records. Okay, Music Corporation of America, there's that. Then there's Universal Music Latin Entertainment. There's all of those. There's the Verb Label Group. There's the Virgin Music Group that also includes Caroline Records, Fiction Records, Montana Records, Virgin Records. M Theory Artist Partnerships. Don't know what that means. That probably means that the bucket we just put a whole bunch of people in and we don't want to pay anybody. Virgin Music Africa, Virgin Music Argentina, Virgin Music Australia, Virgin Music Benelux, Virgin Music Brazil, Virgin Music Chile, Virgin Music France, Virgin Music Germany, Virgin Music Italy, Japan, Latin US, Mexico, Nigeria, Nordics, Norway, Spain, Sweden, UK, US. Then you've got the Universal Music Publishing Group. Don't know how that's different, but we're going to find out. Criterion Music Group, Universal Production Music, Associated Production Music, joint venture with Sony Music Publishing. Let's see, there's all those. Then there's Universal Music Enterprises, Eagle Rock Entertainment. Anyways, basically all of this to say, all of this to say, and it keeps going, by the way. It keeps going. Like I'm halfway down the page right now. Like right now, I just scrolled like a whole, let's see, Universal Sweden, Universal, other Universal Music Group national companies. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. We're talking about propaganda. We're talking about music. The ability to put music and put stuff into people's countries, whether they like it or not, make it downloadable, putting it in the ether, making it pop in the algorithm, right? So we've got fingers into all these other countries. This is universal, so they can change your opinion about whatever. If they want to squash that music internationally, they can squash that music internationally. Universal Music Africa, Universal Music Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Gospel Africa. What was that? Universal UK, Universal France, Universal Japan, Sweden, and then Germany, Georgia, Hungary, India. Look at this. South Punjab. I can't say those. H and a B. Idea Records, Oriental Star Agencies, Universal Music Indonesia, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Korea, Kazakhstan, Latvia, Lithuania, Malaysia. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? Well, but real quick, because there's some interesting names. Let's go ahead and click on Universal Music Group really quick. We're not going to go super duper deep into this, guys. I just wanted to just touch it just for a split second, just so that we, I just wanted to put some things into perspective. That's all. I just wanted to put some things into perspective. But I don't know if everybody knew this stuff is all, right? So Universal Music Group is a Dutch-American multinational music corporation under Dutch law. Did you know that, Broken Blade?
I had no idea.
It's a Dutch company. I did not realize that our music is being controlled by a Dutch company.
Indeed.
Interesting. UMG's corporate headquarters is located in Hilversum, Netherlands, and its operational headquarters are located in Santa Monica, California. Funny how that works. The biggest music company in the world. It's one of the big three record labels, along with Sony Music Entertainment and the Warner Music Group. Tencent acquired 10% of Universal Music Group in March 2020 for $3 billion. That's with a B, and acquired an additional 10% stake in January 2021. Pershing Square Holdings later acquired 10% of UMG prior to its IPO on Euronext Amsterdam Stock Exchange. Interesting. The French Bollieri family still owns 28% of UMG, 18% directly and 10% through Vivendi, the Bollieri family's investment company. The company went public in September, on 21st of September 2021, at an evaluation of $46 billion. So all this music that all these black folks have made over the years, all these rappers, all these whatevers, all the millions and millions and millions, the majority of that went to the French Bollieri family. And as of April 2024, UMG's catalog includes over 3 million recordings and 4 million compositions. But you know what I really wanted to get into? Because I don't know, maybe there's some things about, there's just some things about these countries that people don't really know. Just a little bit of insight. If you happen to be stopping by, salute to you. Make sure you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. But every once in a while, we try to learn something. And UMG is a big company. They're in the news. They're suing, or Drake was suing them, and they've been accused of things like racism and all sorts of stuff and whatever. And so I don't know. I just thought I would ask, just maybe just dig in a little bit. The company's origins, which I find to be pretty interesting. Where'd it go? Okay, there you go. Company's origins go back to the formation of the American branch of Decca Records in September 1934, and its name, company, and logo originate from Carl Laemmle's Universal Pictures. Although the movie studio and the music business share common history, today the former part of Comcast and the latter an independent commercial entity. During World War II, many record companies donated their metal masters to recycling for the war effort. However, Universal was an exception and donated more than 200,000 of their historic master recordings to the Library of Congress. Interesting. The Decca Record Company Ltd. of England, spun American Decca off in 1939, and MCA Inc. merged with the American Decca in 1962. Are you picking up on a little bit of a theme here, Broken Blade? It just seems like all these European countries actually own our music. Is what I'm starting to. These European countries seem to be owning our music. I didn't realize that was a thing. Now, all of a sudden, some of this other stuff that's happening is starting to make a little bit of sense. Yeah. In November 1990, now I want you, because I have a funny suspicion, Broken Blade, and we're not going to do it today because I think it requires a little bit more time.
Right.
I have a funny suspicion that if you were to take that NWA comment and the time around 1990, and then you were to layer that on top of what I'm about to read right now, then I think some of this stuff might make a little bit more sense. And then if you took that information and then layered on top of that investment into private prisons, I would imagine it would also be a little bit more illuminating if I were to do that, which I very well may, but I just didn't get a chance to get it all done today. This is a whole nother. I want this. We did the other show today. We're gonna do this, but check this out. In November 1990, Japanese multinational conglomerate Matsuda Electric agreed to acquire MCA for $6.59 billion. That's billion with a B. In 1995, Seagram acquired 80% of MCA from Matsushita. Broken Blade, doesn't Seagram make liquor?
Yes, they do. Some type of alcohol, yes, sir.
Seagrams make liquor. Okay, all right. Just thought I would. Okay, did he just end up suing a liquor company? I don't know. I'm seeing weird parallels. I don't know. I'm just seeing it. I don't know. On December 9th, 1996, the company was renamed Universal Studios Inc., and its music division was renamed Universal Music Group. MCA Records continued as a label within Universal Music Group. May 1998, Seagram purchased Polygram and merged it with Universal Music Group. In early 1999, Seagram Entertainment's assets were sold to French media conglomerate Vivendi in 2000, along with UMG.
Interesting.
May 2004, Universal Music Group was cast under a separate management from Universal Studios when Vivendi sold 80% of the latter to General Electric, who subsequently merged it with NBC to form NBC Universal. This came 2 months after the separation of Warner Music Group from Time Warner. In February 2006, Vivendi purchased the remaining 20% from UMG from Matsushita Electric, and on 6 September 2006, Vivendi announced its 1.63 billion or 2.4. I don't understand. Oh, that's pounds. Sorry, 1.63 billion pounds and 2.4 billion. What?
I think it's euro.
Oh, euro. Got you. Yes, my bad. Euro, my bad. Euro, not pounds. 1.63 billion euro, in the equivalent of $2.4 billion dollars, purchased by BMG Music Publishing. After receiving European Union regulatory approval, the acquisition was completed in June 25th, 2007. So, Broken Blade. So, if I were an American company and I had all of these assets, if I was a French company, I had all these American assets and things are happening the way that they're happening, I would want things to stay the way that they are or the way that they were, right? Like you would think.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that somehow like a lot of our music is owned by another country is strange to me, bro. Like this is like the rights to their music and stuff. Some other country, like a French company.
Tory Lanez, with his method of circumventing that, suddenly Doobie's charges are stabbed 14 times.
Whoops. That was part of my point. So when you see a company this big, you think, oh, just knock it off. Because Tory Lanez flipped the table. Like he absolutely flipped the table. And they're like, oh, we got to get this dude up out of here. Like expeditiously. Shout out to T.I. Like we have to get this guy up out of here. And when they found out that the truth might come out again, then they're like, oh, we're going to get him stabbed up. The question becomes, was it the DA that sent them people in there? Was it Meg's people that sent them in there? Or was it Kelsey's people that sent them in there? One of the three. One of the three. Because the New York Times reached out to all of them on Friday. He got stabbed up on Monday. So one of the three, if not all three, got that handled. If it were me, if I had to guess, I would say it was the DA that did it, because I think that person could probably get, because I think that the person that did it wasn't even like supposed to be there for real. Like he was not in the place where he would have normally been. And I don't know that Meg.
It makes sense.
Well, I mean, right?
I would bet that DA might have been involved, even if it was somebody else that called for it. He's the one that made arrangements.
For sure. If I had to guess, I would say that's exactly what most likely exactly what happened. Anyways, this rabbit hole goes deep, and we're not gonna go super duper deep. In fact, we're gonna go on ahead and save that for another day. But anyways, back to this Tim Dillon, man. Do you think that CNN has lost their? When was the last time you watched anything on CNN besides like a clip? Have you actually clicked on?
Years.
It's been years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I kind of I mean, I really don't watch anything from that channel at all, except for like the clips of what's his name, Steve Jennings, just cooking the panels. I'm surprised they keep letting him on there.
We watched on CNN. It was it's called Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain.
Okay, yeah. That was like the best thing they had spoken for a long time, and the guy freaking decided to pull his own plug. Do you think he pulled his own plug? I think it would have been a weird time for him to pull his own plug, man. He was like.
Yeah, people said he was people that knew him personally, up to that point, he was in a great mood. He was in a good place mentally.
Seemed like it, right? He was like, it seemed like they were. I mean, I could see how production can absolutely be hard. Like that show seemed like it was hard. It seemed like he tried to keep it authentic. I would imagine it's difficult to do that. But
also around that time, he put a tweet out there making some remark about knowing something about Hillary Clinton. It's still, in hindsight, looked like it might have been connected to some Epstein type stuff.
I could see that.
Yeah,
he looked like he probably partied hard, so he's probably seen a few things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you've been in some of them Diddy rooms, Diddy parties. Which I don't think, again, look, man, it's not illegal to be a freak.
Yeah.
It's not illegal to be a freak.
There's
All right, Broken Blade.
I heard nothing illegal.
Say what?
Stuff I've heard, like, yeah, it sounds gross, but I've heard nothing illegal.
No, for sure. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the picturing him freaking sitting in the corner whacking off is crazy to me. And peeing on or inside of people is wild. And I'm pretty sure I heard some sort of a statement like he wanted something rubbed on his nipples. It was but see, but they're trying to embarrass him.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's what they're trying to do. This whole thing is a humiliation ritual is what this is. And we're there to watch it. Cody, chill. I know what you're laughing at, Cody Marshall. I know we're adults around here. Okay. We even though having a man's sputs anywhere. Go ahead.
Black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves, to do for themselves, to have different ideas. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, this is what will happen to you.
Bang. Shout out, man. Shout out to the GOAT. Shout out to the GOAT. Yeah. I'm curious to know what he's got going on. What do you want to leave us with, Broken Blade? I don't hate to rush you, but we just got a couple minutes left.
CNN news station that out and out lied about Trump and his so-called collusion with Russia. Consistently pushed left-wing propaganda over actual news and facts. Still hung up about Donald Trump visiting the likes of Joe Rogan and Theo Von. Rogan, who got big by one being a comedian, getting into the podcast game early, and was is open-minded and respectful enough to hear people's different points of view, whether he fully agrees with them or not. Theo Von, who got big by being a funny guy and being human. All this talk about like culture being pushed a certain way, like this is not the era of the internet. Pre-internet, yeah, like the powers that be, the media, they had the final say on what the culture is. Post-internet is sporadic. People have their little holes, their little places to hang out all over. Yeah. Now furries are a thing. For an example of that.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Freaks can silently put on fursuits and pre-internet, that would not be a thing. That'd be one lone weirdo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
It's out of pocket.
But yeah, like all this is here is just witnessing the institution's final throes. Either like better start doing like the Latin channels. You know, all the anchor people, whether we're just there's dimes and baddies everywhere.
Damn.
Sure that grow or hold your L. I'll land my plane there.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Shout out to you, Broken Blade. Thank you so much for coming through, hanging out, obviously. My brother from another mother. Shout out to Cody Marshall. Shout out to Solo Dolo. Braxton came through for a split second. All of you first timers, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and hit the subscribe. Do it. We're on our path to 2,000. It's a small channel. You can do it. Cost you nothing. Thank you guys so much for coming through and hanging out. I truly, truly appreciate you. And you know what? We're going to have to catch you guys on the next one. Hold on. Where am I at? Oh, yeah, we're right here.